Hey ladies and gents of YouTube, this is Mike Ray, and I'm coming at you with a video just to kind of celebrate hitting, over 20 subscribers. I'm at 24 subscribers as of this video, and the video is something I've been thinking about doing because for about a year now, never really put thought into making the video, so I never really did it. But I am doing my top 10 dragon monsters in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, this is my opinion. I would like to hear what you guys have in the comment section. Always like to hear everyone's opinion. But for in consideration, any dragons that automatically, because there are some that are prize cards and stuff that'll make you win the match. Like there's that Blue Eyes XD that just came out, World Superstars. That was the tournament prize or the World Championship prize card. Then there's also a Victory Dragon. Those will not be included on the list. So it's just other cards that I basically defined the game, or had some sort of an impact on the game. They could be a staple card. They could have been, a tech card or something like that. They could be on the freaking ban list. So here we go. Number 10, I put in Five-Headed Dragon. Oh, reading off my list because I didn't need a list to read everything off. But Five-Headed Dragon. I have Five-Headed Dragon on here because combo that when Future Fusion was still on, legal, you had, just dragons. You could just summon them out of the graveyard. So you send Red Eyes Darkest Metals, Light Pulsars, Divine Dragon Apocalypse, and then you just, you swarm the field of dragons from that. When you just declare Five-Headed Dragon was your target, and any 5 dragons, it's too good. And even if your opponent got over that board, 2 turns you'll have a Five-Headed Dragon. So Five-Headed Dragon, 5,000 beat stick. Only light monsters can take him out. Even though nowadays there's so much ways to get over him, like we have trap cards that would do it. Regeki and Dark Hole are in the game. We have 101 Castell. So, anyways, number 9. Black Rose Dragon. Usually if you can go into a level 7 synchro, you throw in Black Rose Dragon because when in doubt, Black Rose the field, because if you can't get over your opponent's board, you don't have a Dark Hole, but you can go to level 7 synchro, boom, Black Rose, everything's gone, and kind of level the playing field. And that's also a classic from 5Ds, so it's just a tech card you'll see in any deck that has level 7 synchro. And then there's also that effect that probably I think the only people who use it's probably Sylvans and maybe Plant Synchro, where you banish the plant from your graveyard and all that jazz. But everyone uses it for its destruction effect. Okay, so number 8, I put Shooting Quasar Dragon. The reason Shooting Quasar Dragon's on my list is because, yes, he is hard to get out, but there are entire decks built around him. I mean, I've been playing with my Sylvan deck a lot lately, and several times I can first turn Quasar in it, so I do it just for the hell of it. Quasar is not only, can at least attack twice per turn with 4,000, but negates anything. And when he's destroyed, you get another good card, which I did not put on the list, is a Shooting Star Dragon. And so, just in case your opponent gets over Quasar, but it's just crazy. And then, and it's also, not to mention, you see your opponent, and you see someone dueling and they're going for Quasar, it's just fun to watch. And just the accomplishment you feel from summoning the Quasar, I think it's awesome. And not to mention it did define, help, it was a big, huge meta card at one point. Plant Synchro was hit, Lone Fire was hit, and the Reborn Tengus were hit, Glow Up Bulb, and Spore, I believe, was hit too. But then Spore came back to us. Now Glow Up Bulb, now everything from Plant Synchro is back in action. Now I will say number 7, Debris Dragon. I don't think a lot of people would put Debris Dragon on this list or this high on the list, but during the, it's always, you use it in plant synchros and crap like that because, you can get like Iron Chain Dragon out with him, or you can get Black Rose Dragon out with him, or nowadays, you get that new card that's just released in Cross Souls. I can't even remember the name of it. The card that's on the pack cover, or you can get Black Rose Moonlight or Moonlight Black Rose Dragon, whatever it's called. I have it in one of my decks, but it's not a bad card whatsoever. Get a special summon a monster with 500 less attack from your graveyard. But the real thing that made him, I believe, so good was Dragon Rulers, because when the Dragon Ruler format started, he was at 2, but then they had to put him down to 1 because Dragon Rulers were abusing him because he was searchable by banishing Tempest. And then, you banish Tempest, you get to him. Most likely when you banish Tempest, you have a Dragon Ruler on the field. You don't really normal summon a lot of Dragon Rulers, so you normal summon the Debris Dragon. That's a Star Eater right there. And Star Eater is such a good card, but he did not make my list either, so. And so eventually they had to put him down to 1, and then there was rumors about errata of Debris Dragon because Dragon Rulers were sending him, using him to go into that. So next up, number 6, I put the Baby Dragon Rulers. Even though nowadays with the big ones being banned, they are crap cards. But back when Dragon Rulers first came out, because they were just stupid. Comboing them with the Super Rejuvenation, you gotta, you can get a huge field on the board, nice field, and then you get, you replenish your hand because you're discarding, and it's just too good. I had to put the 4 Baby Rulers on the list together right at number 6 because even though Konami's like, well, maybe if we ban them, the Dragon Rulers will slow down. Nah, it didn't really maybe slow down that bit, but we always find a way to make them better. Okay. Number 5, I put number 95 Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter Dragon. Now, in the game we had, dragons always played from the graveyard. We've known that since, we used Future Fusion to get all that stuff out. And then Dragon Rulers, eventually we started, using the Dragon Shrines with that. We started using Dragon Ravine. If we dumped them in the graveyard, we can just get them out. Well, number, 95 Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter, after the big rulers got limited to 1, everybody started trying all these different things. If you know me, my personal favorite deck is Mythic Dragon Rulers, which go into rank 8s like that. Well, you throw in a Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon, or throw in Prime Photon Dragon, and you can go into instant Dark Matter, send 3 of your dragons from your deck to the graveyard, banish 3 monsters from your opponent's deck, and not to mention if you send a Dragon Ruler and Eclipse Wyvern, you can go and get another Dark Matter out on the field by just doing that, getting red eyes, and you can easily swarm the field. I was screwing around online once, and I decided to throw in Dark Magician in the deck, and my favorite first turn play was throwing Dark Magician in the deck with Ebon Illusion Magician in the extra deck, and then having, what's the card called, I had Timinus. So first turn on the field, I had 2 Dark Matter Dragons, Red Eyes Darkness Matter, the Ebon Illusion Magician, and then I had a Dark Paladin. So I had something that just negates spells, but gains 500 attack for all the dragons in both pairs, fields, and graveyards. It was a crazy board. And not to mention Dark Matter, 4,000 beater that attacks twice. I mean, yes, he's just a big, huge Future Fusion, but is that's something that supports the Dragon Archetype better. I mean, he's the reason why the Dragon Roars got completely banned in both OCG and TCG. So, let's see, number 4, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Now, for card support effects, I think the Dragon, Red Eyes Darkness Metal for type support is probably the best type of support card, one of them, because he's just a free monster. If you're playing him in a pure dragon deck, which I don't see why you play him in a deck that's not pure dragons, but you normal summon a dragon, like a little weak one. You can do like, I don't know, a Flambeau Guard, banish him, special him, and then get like something bigger out with him. I mean, you just got 2 free big dragons. I mean, in my Mythic Rulers, when I played it, some things I would do is, I would because a lot of people played him before Dark Matter, so I was like, I always played Red Eyes because I like Red Eyes. It's just you banish less cards for your Dragon Rulers if you bring one of the Dragon Rulers back with Red Eyes. So that's why I put Red Eyes right there. Number 3, Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. He's number 3 because it's probably one of the best synchros ever in the game. Use the first turn Trishula loops. Destroy your opponent's entire hand, wipe out, eventually when they came out with the Necrons of Trishula, they had to water down his effect compared to the old Trishula. So, but I do not see Trishula coming off the list for quite some time. He is just one of those meta-defining cards. I mean, especially with how plant synchros are, that full power. As soon as Trishula comes back, that's going to be a bitch. My opinion. Let's see, number 2. I had the big Dragon Rulers. First 2013 they defined that format with spellbooks. 1 world champions. And then they're like, okay, maybe the babies are what's making the deck so good. Let's ban the babies. Now the big rulers kept going, so Dragon Rulers defined the entire year of 2013, and then they didn't do too super well in 2014. But then, with the release of the day they released Dark Matter into the TCG, they announced that our ban list will be banning them. So I said Red Eyes Darkness Metal has one of the best type supports. I think the best support cards ever they released in the game is probably Dragon Rulers, because not only that they are just amazing in dragon themed decks, but you can throw them in other stuff like Blaster. He can go in anything that's fire type like Volcanics, Infernoids. He was awesome in Infernoids. You go into rank 7, it's a lot easier. Throw them in Evols. I think Evols use them. No, Directs or something like that. And Fire Fists. I guess you can throw them in Fire Fists, but I don't see why you would. And then, you got Tidal, who helped out like all water-based decks. Penguins, Mermails, Atlanteans. Don't know a lot of other water-based decks other than that. Redox was good in those. Was good in Earth-based decks. You have only one I can really think of is Machinas and Girdia and Gadgets. But he's probably good in Karkuri and crap like that. 6 Samurais. Oh yeah, I think 6 Samurais. Yeah. And then you have Tempest, who was good in Sylvans. He was good in Harpies, and just anything wind based. And you can throw them all together with Dark Matter and a Dragon deck, and that's just crazy schnots right there. And it's just sad to see them go too. I'm a fan of Dragon Rulers. Number 1, you probably guessed it after seeing it not being on the list so far, is Chaos Emperor Dragon Envoy of the End. Before the invasion of Chaos, Booster Pack, you had everyone just threw together decks just to random beatdowns. I think there were some Exodia decks. But Invasion and Chaos came out, and probably the two most powerful cards in the game were released, and that was Blackluster Soldier and Chaos Emperor Dragon. Well, Chaos Emperor Dragon, when you see that hit the board, you know the game's over. He not just nukes the field, but he burns your opponent for all that time. He nukes the field, all that damage. And if you were playing back then, how devastating it was to have, Sagan on the field, summon Chaos Emperor Dragon, and then you get a Yata-Garatsu and just attack, hit your opponent all like that. That was just lame, dumb, stupid. So, and that card's been on the ban list since 2004, and so 11 years on the list. That is just crazy. And it was just let off the list in Japan because it got the errata, but hopefully here in the TCG we'll get the errata, because the errata is still an amazing effect. I would still throw it in my Chaos decks, or any any deck that can summon him. I'll just throw him in. He's just such a good card. But that is my top 10 list. I'd like to hear what you guys think. Leave a comment below, like the video, and if you haven't yet, subscribe, and I'll get back to you guys later. Goodbye.